Lloyd is one of the main characters of Ninjago. He is not only notorious for being the Green Ninja, as he is also the master of energy and the leader of the ninja team that we have grown to love over the years. But could we also call him a Mary Sue? Hello guys, girls, and non-binary pals that live on this planet and happen to be Ninjago fans as well. My name is Angel, and this is my first YouTube video. So, as you can probably tell by the title or the rhetorical question that I made in the beginning, today we will be discussing whether or not Lloyd is a Mary Sue, or Marty Stew, or Gary Stew, which are the male equivalents of Mary Sue. But I think today I'm just gonna stick to Mary Sue because I literally don't know which one to pick. And even if I do end up picking one, I'll probably end up saying the other by accident. So, yeah. So, first things first. What exactly is a Mary Sue? A Mary Sue is a nickname given to fictional characters who are essentially perfect. And not perfect in the sense of being compelling, interesting, well-written, and having good development, but more in the sense of being unrealistically free of any flaws or struggles. Mary Sues have pretty much every quality that you can think of: attractive, insanely talented, kind-hearted, brave, smart, all of those things that are so admirable in a person. And while these qualities are very desirable in real life, for a fictional character, if they don't have any weaknesses, and if they don't even seem to struggle at all, they are not going to be interesting to the audience. That's why Mary Sues are often called boring and bland, because they're kind of stagnant. There isn't much going on for them, and they don't have that character depth that makes them feel relatable and like a real person. So naturally, people tend to not like them for that very reason. A Mary Sue is always on top, and no one else can compare to them. So, now that we have a general idea of what a Mary Sue is, let's see if this applies to Lloyd. I think the question we must ask ourselves to understand if Lloyd is or is not a Mary Sue is Lloyd perfect? Does he have flaws? And does he struggle? Well, my own personal answer is no, yes, and yes. No, he's not perfect. Yes, he does have flaws, and yes, he does struggle. Quite a lot, actually. While Lloyd does have many great qualities, and some of those that overlapped with a Mary Sue's character traits, and while he also has a tragic backstory, which is a characteristic of some Mary Sues that are, shoved into their character background to make them seem more relatable and to have people sympathize with them, Lloyd does miss the main thing about being a Mary Sue, which is the unrealistic perfection. He has never been perfect. We have been seeing him struggle ever since the beginning. He started off as this wannabe villain, and even back then he already made a bunch of mistakes, like releasing the serpentine. That still has to be one of the biggest mistakes he's ever made, and he was a huge rat. He didn't really have a likable personality back then. However, as the other ninja took him in, and when he eventually found out that he was the Green Ninja and started being trained to do so, we can also see that he didn't master his new abilities all at once. He struggled to learn how to do all those ninja acrobatics and to control his powers as well. Just because he was chosen by destiny and he didn't really do anything to earn the role of Green Ninja, it doesn't mean that he didn't struggle to become the Green Ninja. I will say that he was overpowered back then, since his power was basically just a mix of all the other four ninjas in one, which kind of makes you feel like the other ninjas weren't really necessary and that Lloyd could just kick ass on his own. But I actually think that, but even considering this, I still don't feel like the other main characters were dumbed down to make Lloyd look great. They were the ones that taught Lloyd everything they knew, and I'd say that they had a big impact on the person that Lloyd became later on. If it wasn't for them, Lloyd wouldn't have learned the importance of being good and being a ninja. And even though season 2 focused heavily on Lloyd and his battle with Garmadon, I'd say that the others were still portrayed as capable ninjas. Like they weren't treated as some useless sidekicks to Lloyd. They still felt somewhat balanced. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Anyways, there are also other struggles that Lloyd has faced throughout the series. I'll name some of them. He also struggled when battling against his father, right? Like he didn't just like completely own the battle from the beginning. We saw him he got his ass kicked a little bit. And then in later seasons, we see him struggle to control his fears, struggle to be a good leader and get the team to listen to him. He made an impulsive decision, completely irrational, even though the others told him it was a bad idea. And, well, it turned out terribly for him. He lost his powers, and he also, once again, got his ass completely kicked by Garmadon. But this battle, he did lose in the end. He was also pretty devastated about, what Harumi did to him, and thinking that all his friends were dead really pushed him to the edge. Anyways, moving on. After all that shit went down in the season Sons of Garmadon, we saw him struggle and hunted to believe in himself again, to find his own voice. He felt weak and defeated because he didn't have his powers anymore. He literally told Nia to go just lead the resistance herself because he felt like he wasn't up to the task. And nowadays, he apparently makes completely biased judgments before even knowing a person if they happen to be princesses, because Harumi was also a princess and that was a bad princess, so that means that all princesses are bad. And he also did that with Akita, who isn't really a princess but is a girl. So, yeah, he developed some crippling trust issues, and I guess it's no wonder he was an asshole to Vanya and Akita. I mean, the guy's got some trauma. But still, please, Lloyd, I love you, but please stop making that kind of judgments about people before you actually get to know them. I know that you don't want to risk being naive again, and that you told Misako yourself that you will no longer be seeing just the good in people and being trusting and open right away. But seriously, that is not an excuse to be an asshole, so please try to control that. Okay, babe? Okay, so I believe that was enough to show how far from perfect Lloyd is. I mean, I pointed out so many struggles of his, pretty much every single major one he's had throughout the series, and I also pointed out some of his flaws, like being stubborn. He's really stubborn, and sometimes it works in his favor, but other times, like his one decision to just go fight Garmadon without a proper plan, just like that, back in the season Sons of Garmadon, it completely backfired. It did not end well for him at all. So there's that. There's also the preconceived judgments he makes about people, which aren't a good thing either. And there's the fact that when he feels that things don't go his way, he feels extremely unmotivated and defeated. He just starts to believe that he's nothing, essentially. We saw that in Haunted, and it was pretty sad. Don't get me wrong, it's understandable that he acted that way, but if he were a real Mary Sue, he probably would have kind of had his shit together, mostly. But he didn't, because he is portrayed as an actual human being with emotions and weaknesses, and that is why my final judgment is that Lloyd Garmadon is not a Mary Sue. Alright guys, that is all I have to say for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that you found this video entertaining and that you liked the points I made, because I had this on mind for like weeks, maybe months. And I actually did have lots of fun making this, and I am definitely planning on making more videos in the future that are going to be quite analytical as well, and others that are going to be just a little bit more lighthearted. I'm not gonna tell you to like and subscribe because I'm honestly not really a big fan of that. I mean, I understand why some YouTubers do it, but I personally don't want to, because, you have fingers and the buttons are right there. You know where they are, so if you want to click them, you can click them, or you can just not click them at all either. I'm not stopping you and I'm not forcing you. So I guess this is a part where I say my goodbyes. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, or I hope the rest of your day is amazing. I don't know what time it is, wherever you're watching this from. And angel out. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.